Sports Monkeys.
Sports
one.
Monkeys.
Uh,
are you gonna introduce it? I'm sorry. Wait, restart.
no,
My bad.
it's fine.
Go. Wait, I do it again. Hold on.
It's okay. It's okay. Road bumps. Road bumps. Everyone's got road bumps. First episode, lots of road bumps. We got me, I'm Chris. We got Meg. James
Hi,
is
Meg.
not here. It says James on the bottom. James is not here. James could not make it. This is the Sports Monkeys. Mostly NFL will be here.
Oh yeah.
I watch a little basketball. We'll get to that in a second.
Also watch a little bit of basketball.
Me and James watch more hockey than basketball, so we'll have a little hockey stuff, a little bit of basketball. Most of that will just be the big news until probably playoffs. But NFL, full season, maybe next summer, or at least when the season starts, a little bit of esports, we'll see. But we're starting here. Good starting points. This is the kickoff. Again, I'm Chris, Packers fan, little bit of a Bills fan, Bucks fan. It's my basketball team of choice. Seems weird, Rangers fan. But there's no Wisconsin hockey team.
Very spread. Very spread.
Very spread. It's literally not spread at all. It's called
Wisconsin
it's just New York
and New York. Yeah,
it's called Wisconsin and New York.
Yeah, same here. Not very spread. Obviously, you got the Green Bay Packers. You know, go Pack, go. Got to. That's the squad. Got to roll with them. She's at through and through. Then you got my Miami Heat. You know, Heat culture. That's how it is. And then
I hated you guys a couple years ago when you shit stomped us in playoffs. But again, I'm not too butthurt. I'm not that big of a basketball fan.
It's cool. Hey, Jimmy Butler is him. Jimmy Butler and Bam are them, right? And then Miami Heat as well. Or sorry, Miami Dolphins as well. I'm in Florida. Love the Florida teams. So gotta rock with Miami.
Green Bay.
But Green Bay, that's the squad. That's who we roll with all the time. You know, go Pack, go. As I said,
100%. We got jerseys. We got everything. I got a flag. It's still not up. We're gonna start off with some news here. The only big news today. Patrick Surtain signed a new deal. 4 years, $96 million, $77.5 million guaranteed. That is
deserved. Well deserved.
It's deserved. It's now $3 million more a year than Jair.
Yeah.
So,
I like I said, it's deserved. He's
so good.
If he's not the best corner in the league, he's 2 or 3. So.
Yeah.
Like Sauce, Jalen Jair, those are my guys.
Jalen Jair. There's someone else that I can't think of. Oh, AJ Terrell, is that his name?
I don't know how good he was last season, but I think he had a little bit of a fall off. Darius Slay
Darius Slay is pretty good. James Bradbury fell off a cliff. If we
he is
off cliffs.
There's a lot of good corners in the league. It feels like
there's a lot of good ones, but they're scattered.
Yeah, they're all scattered. Yeah.
And despite there being a lot of good ones, there's at the same time there's not.
Speaking of good corners, I'm excited about Eric Stokes.
I know
it's jumping a little, but yeah, healthy Eric Stokes. His rookie season was really good. I mean, I think he'll be good. Also, Valentine. I'm just excited about the Packers defense in general.
But everything about them. It's that we'll touch on this later, but
yeah.
The entire season, Packers or not, I am so excited for.
I'm ready. Football's back, man.
We'll get to that at the end, and you'll see why.
Football is back.
Rookie quarterbacks. There were 6 in the first round last year. In the last draft.
Sure.
First, we had Caleb Williams going to the Bears, followed immediately by Jaden Daniels to the Commanders, followed immediately by Drake May to the Patriots.
Then we had to wait a bit.
Later, Michael Penix to the Falcons, and then JJ McCarthy. I believe it was JJ McCarthy.
It was JJ and Bo
to the Vikings, and then Bo Nix to the Broncos.
All right.
How are we feeling about all of them?
What stands out here? Obviously, the Caleb pick is wonderful. I'm not a Bears fan. You know, that's a rival, but it's a great pick. He's gonna be he's a great kid. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be real good.
Meg, what do you mean not a Bears fan? We hate the Bears. Yeah, get out of here.
Right, but I can respect when a franchise is making.
I can respect
around.
When the team actually looks good for once.
Right, it feels like Chicago's really turning it around with Caleb.
Very few holes around that team.
Yeah, that's one of
on paper. I always have to preface that with that team. because on paper they can be really good, and in reality they can suck.
Yeah, on paper, that is one of the best rosters in the league. So I am a little bit scared to play Chicago, but again, we own them. So how scared can I really be? With that being said, what stands out to me the most here is the Penix pick, and everyone says that. However, I wouldn't hate the pick if Penix wasn't old. I know that Atlanta's front office was like, "Oh, Green Bay does it. Like they have the formula, draft a quarterback when your guy's getting old." But you just signed Kirk to 4 years and a shit ton of money. Like
I mean,
Penix, come on, like he's old too.
I
He's
I,
not
I
gonna start
understand
until he's
where you're
almost
coming
30.
from. I get that. The not flip side, I guess it would be a counter argument. Not the exact same situation, but a year after drafting Jordan Love, they signed Aaron Rodgers to $50 million a year for 3 years.
That is very true.
So,
However, I think the
it
caveat is they
it
drafted Love and then Rodgers had an
it
MVP.
ultimately depends on how it looks after Kirk leaves.
No, you're right. It depends
It's
on if Penix comes in and if he's a
is
dog,
the
it's gonna
big
look like a great
yeah.
move.
It's gonna fly under the radar for like a couple years or whatever happens, and then as soon as he starts playing, it'll be like last year with
Vertical
Jordan
will be
Love,
out.
where you
Right, the
you
vertical will
can
be out.
finally judge them. You're not going to see
Right.
practice film. You're not going to see anything.
No,
So,
absolutely. And everyone was hating on the Love pick initially, and even myself included, didn't like it. Thought we could take someone else, go win a ring.
oh,
But
dude, I forget who I wanted that year. Who was in that? I don't even know who I wanted that year. I was just watching the draft because I was excited because they got to the NFC
I
Championship
think
game,
I
and I
think
was
that
like,
was the let's see.
I was begging for a receiver, and then they took a quarterback, and I wanted to.
It was T Higgins. T Higgins.
Was it? I don't even remember.
It was
'Cause
T went right. Yep. It was so
he
we
goes
traded up.
shortly after, but
We traded up right
yeah.
before us with Brandon Ayuk. Then it was Jordan Love, Jordan Brooks, Pat Queen. I wanted Patrick Queen.
No, I didn't follow it enough. I didn't follow college enough. I still don't follow college that much. I'm starting to now. But all I remember is just why the hell did we take a quarterback? I didn't even know who he was. It's just why would we take a quarterback in general?
Yeah,
Completely
I mean,
forgetting that Rodgers is almost 40 and he just played, 25 touchdown, four interception,
sure he
barely
didn't throw picks,
4,000
but
yards or something like that.
he didn't look like the Aaron Rodgers of old.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why the hell are we drafting a quarterback?
No, and I totally agree.
Completely forgetting that he's, almost 40.
I will say T Higgins that next season could have been the deciding factor in beating Tampa Bay, but you can only hindsight is 2020. What are you gonna do?
The deciding factor is going for it on 4th down. But let's not go there.
Let's not get there. Yeah.
Anyway,
on the other QBs though, I like.
Next, let's go to Bo Nix. What's
Right.
your thoughts on Bo Nix? How is he looking?
I've heard that Sean Payton really likes him. I've heard that he's accurate. He is making good decisions. So I let the kid sit. Don't start him. But I think he's starting, right?
He is starting.
Yeah. If you start him, he's gonna lose all his confidence. You can't throw rookies out in the fire like that, especially not a rookie who's not ready. He doesn't seem ready.
He's the one quarterback that I will say is ready.
Really? You think so?
He had like 58 starts, dude. He's played everywhere. He played in Auburn. He played in Oregon. He's played everywhere.
It's a different game, man.
It's a different game, but in Auburn, Auburn's ACC, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not SEC, but you're
SEC,
down
yeah.
south against Clemson at the time when he played.
I guess
there.
you're true.
You're playing against these
right.
powerhouse teams in the southeast, and then you go up to the northwest, and you're playing USC and Washington when they have Michael Penix and they have all these decent teams out in the Pac-12 for a few years while he's there, and you're still putting up good numbers.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't like making judgments on quarterbacks or even draft picks until they're out there. You can always say so much.
No,
I said,
exactly. But I also am gonna praise him because he is my secondary starting quarterback in fantasy, and I shot myself in the foot last year taking terrible quarterbacks, and it's a dynasty league, and I'm now paying the price. But
Justin Fields.
Actually, good segue into this. I took JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix, thinking it would be a great tandem. JJ sadly went down with a tibia injury, something to his knee, I believe,
Yep.
and he had surgery, out for the season, so he is sitting. Sad way to start the career, but I don't think he was supposed to start anyway. I think they were
He
going to
wasn't gonna
start.
start anyways.
Yeah, I
He
think
was.
they were going to start Sam Darnold,
Yeah.
but they were supposed to fix my quarterback problem
But
because I
yeah.
had Russ and Justin Fields
And now they're on the
and
team.
Gardner Minshew. And Gardner Minshew's starting status was a question mark. Russell Wilson was a Steeler, and Justin Fields was a Steeler. And I didn't know who was going to win the starting battle. I ultimately shipped both of them off, and now have actually gotten Russ back because Bobby dropped him. So I picked his ass back up after trading him for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And I think I have 5 quarterbacks now, but
Jesus Christ.
one of them is on the taxi squad, so it's only 4 on my roster. But I might drop one depending on how bad they do.
Yeah.
Um,
Getting back to the rookies here.
yes, sorry.
I think no. You're
Tangent.
good. The tangent's fine. Getting back to the rookies, I like the Drake May pick a lot. I think he's gonna be really good. You just gotta let him sit.
You let
He's
and
let him
and
sit.
the problem though is that Patriots team looks terrible.
Right, and that's why I'm saying let him sit. He has nobody.
Yeah, you let him. He's got some guys to throw to, but he doesn't have guys to protect him or hand the ball off to or defend
Right.
the
And even
other side
then,
of the ball.
who does he have to throw to? It's Jalen Polk and
Jalen
Kendrick
Polk
Bourne.
and Kendrick Bourne, they're good enough, but
Right.
it's that it's a huge growing year for the Patriots,
Yeah. Yep. It's
and we will see how they go.
yeah, like I said, you gotta let May
I think
sit and
out
develop.
of all of them, he's one guy that you actually want to let sit. I understand throwing Caleb into the fire, you don't really have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix, I also understand lots of starts. Penix probably would have been thrown into the fire had he not gone to Atlanta.
Yeah.
McCarthy going to the Vikings allows him to sit, but I think at some point this season he would have started had he not gotten injured. And Jaden Daniels being thrown in the fire, again, you're kind of forced to. But it's not as good as the Bears situation. It's a
Oh
good
man,
situation.
that is one of the greatest situation. That is the greatest situation number 1 pick has ever gone to.
Yes.
Like,
But Jaden Daniels is in a pretty decent situation himself. He's got some guys to hand the ball off to.
right, it's just about the line.
He's got some guys to throw the ball to. The defense kind of got shipped around last year and traded off, but when you know you're rebuilding, you kind of get assets for what you can and whatnot. And if players don't want to be there, get what you can for them. Like Chase Young left, which is crazy to me, but he didn't live up to the hype too much.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He's good, but he wasn't as good as people praised him up to be.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue for Daniels is going to be the protection. He needs.
Yes,
He has
and
none.
the turf monster.
Right, and the
FedEx Field is terrible.
Horrible, fucking miserable. Yeah, that's really it. Yep.
That's all the big names starting quarterback or rookie quarterbacks. There were other guys drafted, but they fall under the radar and whatnot.
All right.
On to our power rankings. I
Not for the
believe
fun
I'm
part.
first. I am first. I should have just clicked the button. I've got the Chiefs at 1, 49ers at 2. It's hard to put them lower. They're so damn good on paper and in person. They play their asses off. They come out so clutch most of the time. The Ravens are up there. I think they might take a step back from last year because of some pieces moving around, but they'll also wind up taking a step forward because of some additions. The Lions looked really damn good last year, and I think they're going to look even better this year.
Oh yeah.
They have
I am.
the last.
They have fixed. They fixed all the holes on that team.
2021, 2022, 2023. They literally only got better each season from 3-13. Like they were 0-10-1 at one point in 2021, and they wound up finishing 3-13-1.
I think it's insane that Ben Johnson is still on that team.
He wants to be there.
No, and that's what I think is like so fascinating about it's the culture. The culture is so good there, and they really did turn around the last 3 years.
There's some other team that, I think Washington has Cliff Kingsbury now as their OC.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, it is Washington.
He's had a stint with head coaching, didn't
Mhm.
go too well, but I think him as a OC is a lot better than
Oh yeah, most
as a head.
definitely.
You have a lot less to worry about, and if there's a
Right.
guy fit for head coaching, you let him coach, and if there's a guy fit for coordinating, you let him
Let him
coordinate.
coordinate.
Like
Right. There's so many.
Eric Bieniemy, Eric Bieniemy didn't pan out. He
Right.
left the
I was gonna.
Chiefs. Granted, the
Right.
Chiefs are fine, but Eric Bieniemy head coaching didn't pan out.
Right. It's like I was about to say that
And
some people just are not meant to be head
I
coaches. They
think
need to be
I
coordinators.
think
Like
Ben
Josh
Johnson.
McDaniels is a great
Yeah,
Josh McDaniels is a great example.
Ben Johnson. I don't think he would be bad, but I think he's gonna have more success with the Lions than he would like coaching.
Right.
I'm just gonna next year he might be the coach of the Jets. Who knows?
Oh, that could be. Could you imagine that him with Aaron Rodgers, that offensive mind, those
Assuming he
offensive
doesn't
minds together?
retire.
Yeah, assuming the old man doesn't retire. Yeah.
Then the Eagles, again, great team on paper. They fell off last year, not at the top of the NFC, but they were still pretty damn good, and I think they're going to take the division. The Dolphins, you cannot count out the Dolphins in the early season. They are so damn good in
You know what you can't count out?
the Texans.
The track stars, bro. The track stars. That team is just a track team.
It's, Hill's fast, Waddle's fast, Mostert's fast, HN's fast, Braxton
All of them.
Berrios, I think he's still there, is fast.
I mean, Tua just lost weight. He's trying to become a scrambling QB. Like
Tua lost a chunk out of his arm. That's where the weight went. The Texans,
crazy clip.
Texans super young, but we saw what they did last year. They went up against the Ravens, the AFC runner-up. I can't remember how close that game. I think it was like 31-9 or something. It wasn't a close game, but they were also out in Baltimore, and that time of year it's cold, and if it's hard to play January weather or January football outside.
Yeah.
Especially for teams from Houston or Miami.
Right. These warm weather teams just are not built to play in those
and if
cold weather environments.
Yeah, if the conference runs through the north, or at least the cold, which both conferences seem like it's going to keep happening, good luck.
Yeah.
At least the AFC side. The NFC, if you're going through the north, or if you're going through the NFC, it's looking like Santa Clara or Detroit, but Detroit's inside. Santa Clara's in California. That's warm. Otherwise, it's Philly. Outside, Green Bay's outside. Chicago. I hate to say it, but Chicago, if it's going through Chicago, they're outside. And
yeah, I mean, you're spot on.
Dallas would be the only other one that's north. I guess Seattle, but I don't think they're going to be that good. But Dallas is inside. So, following the Texans, the Packers, similar season to the Texans last year, scrape into the playoffs in the last week of the season, get a great win on the road in the first round. The Packers had a better chance to win their divisional round game than the Texans did, but I think the Texans made bigger moves this offseason to be ahead of the Packers.
But that's not to say Green Bay didn't make moves. And also,
they made great moves. I just think the Texans...
Can we talk about how
paper they're better?
How Green Bay in sneaking in week 17 and 18 to the playoffs goes way better, or is just as good as peanut butter and jelly. 2016, back when the Cardinals beat the Vikings. I don't remember that year that was, but Green Bay snuck in the last week. They snuck in last year.
You know when they didn't sneak in though?
Against the Lions.
2022
Yep.
They sold. And I was my
was a
big
game to watch.
My big thing was if we lose, I'm going to be sad about that, but the Lions can make the playoffs. And then Seattle wound up winning earlier in the day and the Lions couldn't make the playoffs.
Right. That game should not have been on Sunday night.
The way that Dan Campbell preached that to his team, that's what made me respect them a lot.
Yeah, I said, a lot of respect for the Lions.
I love Dan Campbell's a great coach despite his weird tendencies. I think he's a great
despite
coach.
going for it on 4th and 105.
Well, he will. Dude's a meathead. But he told him it's either we're going or they're not, and they were already out, so Packers aren't going to the playoffs, and they did not go to the playoffs, and it was sad, but that's what happens. behind the Packers, got the Rams. They lost Aaron Donald, so that's actually going to be hard on their defensive front. But they still have Sean McVay. They still have Matthew Stafford. You have Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua broke out. Kyron Williams is very good. They have lots of pieces on offense. Defense, it's young, but it's good enough. And I think they can maybe compete with the 49ers for their division. I just don't think they're as good as the 49ers. And rounding out my top 10, the Cincinnati Bengals. If Joe Burrow is healthy, you can't count them out. Like, it doesn't matter what their holes are on defense or offense or whatnot. Joe Burrow can sling the ball. And if you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins catching that ball, you can keep yourself in a lot of games despite your defense giving up, say, 30 points. You can win 31-30 or something like that.
No, absolutely. And what I think is kind of interesting about your top 10 here is, as a Bills fan, you don't have them in here.
I don't.
Yeah, I would have expected you to put him in there. And same argument, Josh Allen. As long as you got Josh Allen on the field.
Might have been because I made this a while ago and I've changed my opinion on the Bills.
Sure.
I think they're going to do better now. I think they actually have a shot to win the division. Because, again, it's Josh Allen.
Right. I see where you're coming from. And I feel like me and you have very, very similar top 10s. Here, if you want to, there we go.
Segue.
Pull it up.
It's similar teams, different orders, but very bottom is a little different, and that's where it kind of gets fringy. But I'll let you take over.
Right. So obviously, reigning champs at the top, you can't discount them. This is what I think is interesting. The Lions at 2, just like that team got better. They made the NFC chip and they got better. Like, the additions of Taron Arnold Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, like the only issue it seemed like on that team was the secondary, and you addressed that.
They had some holes in the secondary, and they addressed the secondary.
And they addressed that really well. So I think the Lions are going to be a 13, at least a 12-win team. 12 to 14-win team. They're going to be a really good team. They don't have a super, super hard schedule.
I was going to say, if they're not winning the division, it's because one of these other teams just edged them out at the end of the year.
Right, exactly. And then, again, you got to respect the Niners and what they do. They didn't really lose anyone super, super important. And I am a little bit lower on the Niners than other people. I have them at 3 here. They just re-signed Trent Williams. They got Brandon Ayuk done. Like, they got the guys back. They're rolling it back out. But I think this is the last year for them to contend. I really do. Like, I think after this year, the door closes.
The door is closing, and if it's not this year, it's next year. And if it's not next year, it's definitely the year after, because
I just don't think they have 3 years,
There are going to be so many people that need... Actually, no, you're right. It is going to be...
Brock, man. They gotta sign Brock.
This or next year.
And Debo. They got to sign Brock and Debo.
Debo, Brock...
And Kittle's contract is probably going to expire soon.
Kittle,
I don't know how much.
They're not going to keep Kittle. Kittle's going to be lost in free agency.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of those that's caught in the
actually...
crossfire. But even if you flip those side of the ball, you've got Fred Warner, who I don't know if he's gotten paid yet, but he needs to be paid. Hofunga's pretty damn good, and he's going to need to be paid in a couple years.
Yeah, Charvarius Ward.
Yeah, he's pretty good. They've got a couple guys in the trenches.
They just re-signed Bosa, right? I think they just re-signed Bosa.
Yeah. I think they have another guy.
Kittle through 2025 if they want to keep him. He's a great blocking tight end, a great receiving tight end. Like, that's a threat on your team that you want, And
within the next 3 years, that team is going to be very, very different.
Yeah, very different. But moving on from the Niners, we have the Eagles, and I think this is another team on paper, just like you said, they're a great squad, and I think the addition of the new coordinators, the changes at coaching is going to be really, really important. I think the coaching was really bad last year, and the addition of Quinyon Mitchell, another great Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, those are great pickups.
I was going to say Cooper DeJean.
I wanted him, man, but it's okay.
Oh,
it's okay.
I wanted his ass. It said we got Jordan Morgan.
No, you know what? I'll get to the end of it.
It's okay.
I'll get to the Morgan pick in a bit. The secondary was an issue last year, and now you got Slay, Arnold, and DeJean out there. That's great. Like, obviously, the jury is still out on the rookies. Like, they still have to play and show that they can play at the NFL level, but I think they're going to be great. They looked great in college. Like, one of those guys is probably going to hit. Otherwise, it would be an all-time bad draft. Like, missing at those top 2 positions at the same position would be horrible. But I think the Eagles are going to be good. I think they're going to be another 11 to 12-win team. They're going to take that division with flying colors. Like, I don't expect any other team in that division to come close.
I think it's going to be a better battle for second than it will be
For first, I
for
like,
first,
th-
because
yeah,
Dallas
I totally agree.
is reeling, and keep an eye on the Commanders. I
Yeah,
actually really like
Yeah,
the Commanders.
no, me too. I think Daniels could be, if he can stay healthy all year, that could be it's
You
a
have
sneaky
Daniels
team.
with Cliff Kingsbury, and then Dan Quinn as your head coach. Good
Yeah,
luck.
like, yeah, I agree. Then again, Ravens, they made the AFC Championship game last year. Lamar, the top three. Lamar, he's a dog. Like, that's a great quarterback. You can't discount that dude either. I am a little worried about the receiving weapons. I don't like Zay. I like Zay, but I don't like Bateman. I don't like anyone past that. They don't have a good 2 or 3, but the 2 is kind of interchangeable with Mandrews. So I guess
Do
you
they
have
still
that.
have
But
Devin Duvernay, or am I making that up? Did they
I
ever
think you're
have
making
Devin
that up.
Duvernay?
They did have Duvernay at some point. I do remember
Okay.
that.
The
That
Ravens
defense,
haven't had like a good solid receiver in their prime since like Steve Smith.
yeah, it's been a while.
And I don't even
But the
know how
defense
long ago
also,
that was because I was really fucking young.
yeah, the defense got worse. They lost Pat Queen, Trader went to Steel City.
There
So,
were actually, I want to brief on that really fast. There were so many interdivisional signings
oh
and
my
trades
goodness,
this last
there were
offseason.
so many people
There were
going to the ops.
so many
So many
moving
people went to
around.
the ops.
And I'm gonna say this too. The Bears just love our sloppy
They
seconds, dude.
and you know what?
They
Not just the Bears. It's the NFC North. Like,
no,
they just
no,
love.
it's the NFC North, but the Bears love our sloppy seconds,
Oh
dude. They
yeah.
get
Oh yeah.
so
Jonathan
many
Ford.
guys after they
Or
cut
sorry,
from the
Jonathan
Packers.
Owens. Jonathan
Jonathan
Owens.
Owens, oh no, that was backwards.
They had Bobby. They had Bobby.
They had
They have Mercedes Lewis.
Lewis.
EQ St. Brown.
They got Julius Peppers after we had him, I believe.
Yeah. Or it might have been the other way around, I think.
Uh, there's a lot of interchanging between the two. I know that
Yeah.
because
But
Amos
they just
would from the
love
Bears
taking
to
our players.
us. We had so many guys go there. Yeah,
Right.
Equanimous.
And you know what happens? Every single time they go to Chicago,
They
they
suck.
kind of
Jimmy Graham.
suck.
Jimmy Graham. Oh,
Yeah.
that was my
And
favorite.
I will
Except
say
that
he
catch
wasn't
he made in the
amazing.
playoffs that one year against the Saints to walk it
That was
off despite them losing was nuts.
that was nuts. I will say Jimmy Graham also wasn't amazing for the Packers. Unfortunately, I think he was sorely misused.
Well, he was also on the back end of his career because he had the majority of his stint with the Saints, then he went to Seattle,
and
then
McCarthy was also coaching.
then
So
he came to Green Bay in
right.
the latter half of McCarthy's bad years, and he kind of just fell off, and then he went to Chicago.
No, absolutely. And then so I was talking about the Ravens. The Texans, look, Stroud. That's Stroud, Nico, Tank.
I love CJ
Diggs.
Stroud. I would buy a CJ
What else?
Stroud
What else you
jersey.
gotta say? What else you gotta say about those guys? I mean, that's a great offense on paper, and I think in practice it's gonna be an amazing offense. But something that I think people are really sleeping on is that defense. They got Daniel Hunter.
I was gonna
Like,
say they got what's his? They have Derek Stingley.
yeah, Stingley's yeah.
Last name
The
S.
Daniel Hunter. The
Ends
Daniel
with
Hunter.
Lee. He's a junior.
That seems
Yeah,
gonna be nasty.
Daniel Hunter.
And then at 7, and they're gonna rise on this list a lot week to week. You got the Packers.
By the way,
And
after this, this is such a good topic now that you're saying this. After this, you're gonna love the next section.
so the Packers, I'm a Packers fan. In my heart, they're one. They're the best team in the league. But realistically,
In my heart,
I think
they're
you can
3.
right. You can place them anywhere from 7 to 11. I have them on the higher end. I'm a big believer in Love. If that I have to be. He's a dog. He played flawless football for 10 weeks in that San Francisco game. He started making the bad decisions that he was making earlier in the season. But
And
look, that was the
I
second
will
playoff game against a
always
really good
preface
defense.
this in that San Francisco game. He takes
He
that
was balling.
throw because it's his first year and his first clutch playoff drive.
Right. And I will say the one thing about Love that really scares me is he was never good in the clutch.
You,
Every time he had a clutch chance, the team squandered it.
aside from the Saints game.
Yes. But that was like a huge comeback. It wasn't like a Jordan 2 minutes, go drive down. Go drive down
No,
the field.
but you still have to get down there to
Right, sure.
do it. You're
And
down 3 scores.
I agree. But I think Jordan Love is not good in the 2-minute drill yet, and that's something I'm really hoping to see improvement on this year.
I think he will.
The receiver.
I think if that's a week 16 or 17 game and he's in that situation, he doesn't make that throw.
You know what? Actually, I will take it back. Carolina, he had a good he drove him down the field and got him a field goal so that they were up.
They
Um,
shouldn't have had to do that in the first place, and that's on
everyone, I
the
feel like a lot
defense.
of people have been saying this, especially on Packers, like in Packers forums, Packers Twitters, whatever, or Packers Twitter, whatever. The receivers, people keep sleeping, stay sleeping, because when Dontavion Wicks breaks out, when Christian Watson
You
head
even,
tops you,
dude,
when
you even
Romeo Dobbs
you
makes
go
these
past
nasty
the
toe
four.
taps,
You go past the first four. This
still
like
got Bo, still got Bo.
in
Like,
our fantasy group chat, the one that you're in that you don't read too often, and I don't blame
uh,
you. It blows up a lot, and Bobby can
yeah,
yap, but um, the they were talking about best receiving rooms, and if you go top three only, oh, the Packers are not in that conversation at all.
well, absolutely not. But when
The
you take the
Bears,
entire
the
room,
tight, yeah. If you're considering the entire room, including tight ends, once you get past three, some of these teams barely have a four, let
right,
alone
and
a five and a six, and a good enough tight end and a good backup tight end.
And what I think makes this Green Bay team especially so great is if this team was like, if it was Rodgers at the helm, it wouldn't be as good of a receiver room because Jordan Love loves spreading the ball around. He spreads the love, no pun intended, but
Ah,
he,
you cheeky guy.
he gives it around. It doesn't matter if it's Musgrave Deuce on a seam route or Romeo Dobbs on a little out with a hands catch. He
Yeah,
gives it to everyone, and that's why it's so good because it can be anyone any given
yeah.
week.
You
And I think each of these guys really complement each other. Dontavian Wicks is a great route runner. Romeo Dobbs is great possession. Jaden Reed is a slot guy. Christian Watson obviously going to take it off the top.
and
Like,
then you got the two guys. If any of them go down, they're making plays around.
exactly. And
Excuse
I don't
me.
want to talk about the Packers too long right now,
Yep.
but the other thing I want to touch on is the defense. Xavier McKinney, great pick, great pickup. There's first rounders everywhere. I think Jeff Hafley is really, really going to
Oh, I'm so excited.
bring out the best in these players. The takeaways, I feel like we're gonna lead the league or be top 5 in takeaways. Um, and then little side
Pass
note,
rush.
Josh Jacobs. I think people are forgetting how good he was on the Raiders. And yes, his efficiency was down last year, but that's a horrible O line he's running behind.
He's a younger, better version of Aaron Jones, and
Right,
I'm gonna say that. And as much as
but
I love Aaron Jones,
but
he's a younger, better version of Aaron Jones.
but I will say the caveat there, I think they're two different very styles of rushers. The caveat there is Josh Jacobs has a lot of tread on the tires. He was getting the ball a ton in Vegas. But Marshawn Lloyd,
He is
watch out for him. Lloyd could be a really, really good RB2. And I think at some point in this season, they might see 70, 30, 60, 40 split in snaps.
he has a lot of tread on the tires, but I bet you they have close to the same amount of rushing attempts.
Sure. All right. And then I want to move
Be-
on from the Packers.
yeah,
Don't want to talk about them so long. So
sorry.
next we have the Rams. I'm a big believer in the Rams. As we'll see later, I have them doing really, really good this year. You just can't Puka, Cup, Stafford, Kyron. What can be said more? Like, you have Sean McVay out there. He's going to scheme those guys up. They're going to score a lot of points. And I'm worried about the defense, sure. But it seems like the Rams defense is always solid. And obviously they lost Aaron Donald.
I was gonna say, if you get half of what Aaron Donald was out of any guy, God, that's great.
Right. And I
Even a
think the defense is
third
going to
of
be
what
the
Aaron
issue.
Donald was.
But that could be a top 8 offense. It's going to be a really good team, and offense wins in this league. After that, you have the Dolphins. I said it before. That's a track team. Like, they're going to be it's a big play waiting to happen. It's just how far Tua can take them. And I'm a Tua believer, but there's a lot of good teams, it feels like, this year. That defense is also really good. You're getting Jalen Ramsey. You're getting, I think they cut Xavier Howard, but
They
sure.
have a lot of guys that I was actually reminded about this morning that went down last season
Right. They were
halfway
really,
for
really hurt
injury.
last year.
Yep. They had a good defense. They went down for injury. They
And then
missed the rest of the season, and then it fell apart.
it fell apart. So if the
And they
Dolphins
also drew the worst game you could draw in Arrowhead
and
in minus 20-degree weather.
exactly. I think if the Dolphins can stay healthy, watch out. That could be the 1 seed. They have to stay healthy, though. And then Aaron Rodgers led Jets. Garrett Wilson has been waiting for his breakout year. I think this is it. Brees Hall's coming out there. You finally revamped the O-line a little. And am I a little worried about it? Yes, I am. Because, yes, Tyron Smith is good. But he's getting older. He always misses games. So if your left tackle is out, that's bad news. Olu Fashanu, I think he's going to be great. I think that
He's at the
that
Jets.
I think the offense is going to be much better. That defense, it's going to be amazing again. It's going to be a top 3 defense again. You can't cut them out. They didn't really lose anyone big, and they just re-signed. I think it was who was CJ Mosby. Who was
I have no idea.
it was their slot or their nickel corner.
I couldn't tell you.
And I know that
His
he's
name
one of the
isn't
best.
Sauce Gardner. I couldn't tell you.
Well, Michael Carter. Sorry, not CJ Mosby.
Ah.
So Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter the second.
No,
Like,
they have a good.
it's a great secondary.
Good
All right.
defense.
That's gonna be a great team.
Olufashano's on the Jets.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe I forgot about that. So, I just want your opinion on this, and you're gonna freak the hell out. This is, I know who Pete Prisco is. He's a sports analyst at CBS. Pete Prisco dropped his pre-week 1 power rankings yesterday. I'm going to blow your fucking mind with this.
Okay. What the fuck?
Kansas City 1, understandable. Packers
Green Bay
at 2,
is insane.
Insane. 49ers at 3, understandable.
Why is Buffalo at 4?
Insane. But if you think about it, very similar offense to the Packers. A lot of young guys to spread the ball around that are good enough where it works out.
Right, but I think the biggest difference is we haven't seen those Bills guys. We don't like Khalil Shakir was playing as a 3. Like the
He's
issue,
still
the difference
operating as a 3.
right, but their
But
one
there's
is the rookie. Their one is a rookie.
I think he might
Like-
be the 2, honestly. But I
Right,
couldn't
it's
tell you.
the roles have shifted. I think the reason I'm high on Green Bay's receiving room is obviously the talent is there, but we've seen all those guys operate together already. We've seen what it looks like
Yep.
when they're all on the field. We haven't seen that in Buffalo, and that's why I'm hesitant to put them in the top 10.
I don't want to dwell on this too much because I just wanted to show you this. I saw this yesterday. Bengals at 5 over the Ravens. That's crazy to me. Buffalo over the Ravens is crazy to me.
I don't hate this list.
I don't.
But there's
I don't
definitely
hate it, but there's huge question marks. I don't think the
Yeah.
Packers should be that high. I don't think the
they
Bills
haven't
should be
shown
that
me
high.
enough to be that high.
Flip the Ravens and the Bengals. I can see that. The Lions there. I can see
You know,
that.
you know how you fix this list? You flip the Packers and Lions. You flip the Bills and Ravens, the Bengals and the Ravens is fine. You can, it's interchangeable.
Flip the Buffalo Bills and the Texans.
And then I think you have a
The Jets
relatively
at 9.
decent
The
list.
Cowboys over the Eagles is insane.
It's insane. It's insane. Who's bro? Dak has no protection.
I have no idea why the Jaguars are that high. I don't think they're that good. Tampa's there. 7 positions over Atlanta. Makes no sense to me. Miami's up there. That's fine. The Rams are up there. That's fine. The Browns are there. That's fine. In my opinion, the Bears, I think, are a top half team. I think they're in the upper 16.
Honestly, I think they're 14. I like they're 14, 13. That's a great
That's what I'm
squad.
saying. They're in the upper half.
Mhm.
The Colts being below the Titans is insane to me. And the Steelers, crazy. I don't think the Vikings should be that low. I don't think the Commanders should be that low. I think the Titans should be around the 30 range. And I think the Raiders are better than the Giants, the Patriots, and the Saints, not the Broncos. This list is just wild to me. I saw this yesterday. I was going to talk to you about it, and I was like, fuck no, I'm saving it for this.
Yeah, I there's so much I would change.
There's
after
so
that.
much on this list. But he puts us at 2. Yay. All right, anyway. On to the Super Bowl bubble. We yapped on for a long time there.
Yeah.
On my Super Bowl bubble, on the outside, I've got the bank. No, there's teams in my top 10 that are not on this, I believe. Bengals just outside. I think if Burrow's healthy the whole year, obviously they're in it. But if he's not, you have to have some external factors helping you. Like outside of, obviously outside of your quarterback. But I think some of the defense needs to really step it up. Buffalo, too much of a question mark at receiver. Texans, I want to see a little bit more from this new defense before I put them in there. The Jets, I want to see Aaron Rodgers play before I put him in there. The Rams, there's just... Excuse me. Sorry, burped. There's something about the Rams that just doesn't want me to edge them in there just yet. I couldn't tell you what it was. But then on the inside, I guess it's 11 teams, so it rounds out well. And this would make the I don't know what this would make. Chiefs, they're going for a three-peat. They didn't really get worse. Oh no, Kadarius Toney's not on the team anymore. I actually don't. I have no idea. I think he got cut. The Eagles, way too good on paper. The Packers, I think if they beat the Niners on that drive, honestly think they were meeting Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Because I could see them beating Detroit in Detroit. That would have been a tough ask, but I could see him doing it. But honestly, if I have them in there, I really should have the Texans in there. 49ers, they're the 49ers. The Lions are the Lions. They're not going to get worse. These teams are going to be competing for the Super Bowl. And then the Ravens, out of all the AFC teams, I think they're still the second best, if not the third best, to Houston. Houston's huge.
Yeah, I think the only fix here would be putting Houston in your Super Bowl bubble.
Yeah, and looking at it now, I think Houston deserves to be inside that bubble. But oh no, I got ahead of myself. On to you, man.
You know, go ahead. Let's rip. Let
On
it
your
rip.
outside.
So, like you said, you think Houston and Green Bay should be in the bubble. I think they should be right outside the bubble. They just haven't shown enough.
They're like right on. They're on the edge of the bubble.
They're the first teams right out the bubble. The Bengals, again, we just need to see Joe stay healthy. I think it's the biggest issue. And I made this when Jamar's contract was still going on. I was under the assumption that he might hold out.
He still didn't get signed, by the way.
Right, but Jamar was at practice today. I think he's going to play in week 1.
No, it's still looking like he's actually not playing.
Interesting. So, this is also a Jamar Chase situation. Miami, they're a little bit further outside the bubble than the rest of these teams, in my opinion. Tua does hold them back a little, but maybe a mobile Tua could be a huge thing for them. The Eagles, like I said, I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the league this year. They have a really easy schedule because of the division they play in.
Sirianni's just puts a question mark on the team.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I think it's Sirianni.
After that collapse last year, we'll see how it goes this year, but that was bad.
Yeah. Isn't Fangio their new D coordinator?
I think I couldn't tell you.
I can look it up real quick.
I don't keep up with that stuff too much.
We're
not like super analytical and everything.
Right. It's Fangio. So like I said, I think they're going to be better than last year, especially towards that back half. But not ready to put them in the bubble yet. The Rams. This is a team I'm super high on. I think if it's not Green Bay and not the Texans, the Rams are right on the cusp of that bubble. It's the defense. If they can put it together, that's a dangerous team, and you should watch out.
My favorite thing, too, about at least the Texans, the Packers, and the Rams, all three of those teams last year were rebuilding.
Yeah.
All three of those teams won a playoff game.
No, the Rams didn't. They lost. They made it to the playoffs, though.
Oh, yeah.
They lost to Detroit.
They were a play away.
Yeah, they were a play away. All right, anyways, the team's in the bubble.
Sorry. But they all had similar seasons.
Yeah, and they were... Yeah,
I've heard people put some miles above others and way low below the rest, and it's
but
they should all be about 1, 2, 3 right next to each other.
Right. It's just what you prefer, Stroud to Love or Stafford being a vet to the Brooks or the younger players.
But they should all be like nitty gritty right next to each other.
Absolutely. In the bubble, I don't even got to explain it. San Francisco, KC. I don't got to explain that.
Baltimore you don't have to
Lions again. I don't really have to explain that again. They were both in the
Jets
AFC
and
NFC championship game. The Jets. I truly think
Jets.
I think they were just O-line help away and a healthy Aaron Rodgers away. Defense, maybe this is older saying, and I don't think it applies as much to today's NFL. Defense wins chips. That's a great defense. You can't move the ball on them. They take it away too. That's a really, really good defense with a defensive-minded coach. The issue for me is how good is that offense going to be? And I think it's going to be really good. Garrett Wilson is, 1,000-yard receiving seasons with bums at quarterback. Garrett Wilson's in for a huge year, and I think with the addition of Mike Williams, if he can be healthy and be at least 3/4 of what he was in LA, Rodgers has weapons to throw to. You got Brees in the backfield. This could be a good running team where Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to do much except show up and be Aaron Rodgers when they ask him to be. And I think that's a dangerous combination. And I think this team could be the 1 seed. Because again, the Bills got so much worse with the receivers. Miami, there's question marks around that team, and the Patriots are going to get beat up by every team in that conference or in that division.
The
So I
Patriots
think
are, in
that's
my
going to go bad.
opinion, I think they're on 0-17 watch.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, especially
They
since
don't.
they're not starting May, they are on at least
Even
one in
if
16 watch.
even if they are starting him later on, there's nothing I really like about that team except for Jalen Polk.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
And that they have a really good corner,
Oh,
Gonzalez or
yeah,
Martinez
Christian
or something.
Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Christian Gonzalez.
that yeah.
Yep.
But they just sent off Matt Judon.
Yeah, the Judah. I mean, like, they're rebuilding. It's very clear that they're rebuilding.
Yeah, no, and rebuilding without Bill Belichick is huge, honestly, and it needed to happen.
It did need to happen.
Oh. Well, we got
All right.
conference predictions next, and this will go. So it'll be my prediction, and then a bracket, and your prediction and a bracket, and then we're almost done here.
All right.
On the AFC side, I got the Bengals rounding out with the 1 seed. Their schedule, it's a little tough, especially that division. But if Joe Burrow's healthy, this team will beat any other team in the league. They can
do it.
They're just really good when their key players are healthy. And you could say that about any team. But when one player tends to be injured for like half the season or the whole season or part of the season, you don't have to specify, but I'm going to specify because if they are healthy, this team is very good. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're probably going to lose the conference off of like probably the Bengals game, where they're either going to have the same record or they'll be one right behind them or whatever. But they're going to be neck and neck the whole season. I don't think the Texans are going to be far behind. Again, I made this slide a long time ago. I have the Jets winning the division here.
Yep.
I didn't revise this.
I was going to say, yeah, would you change it to Buffalo?
I don't... It's really hard to predict that whole division. I like Buffalo. They lost so many pieces this year. They're it's like the Packers last year, or the Rams last year, the Texans last year. They're in a rebuilding year, but you can't count out Josh Allen. He's too damn good. And if he can't win through the air, he's going to try to win on his feet, or he's going to do something crazy that'll blow your mind. He does it once a year.
Just going to try and make something happen.
Probably more. But if I'm looking at this, they're probably in the 8 or 9 range, barely outside the playoffs, only because these teams are all, pretty damn good. The Ravens, I've got in here. It's the Ravens. They're missing out by a game or 2 on the division to the Bengals, but it's dropping them 4 spots because that's how seeding works.
How it works, yep.
The Browns, they're good. Deshaun Watson.
That's a good. That's another team with a great roster, top to bottom.
That has a question mark.
It's Watson. Watson's a question mark.
Yep. And for that reason, honestly, maybe I drop them to 8 and Buffalo's in at 7 or 6 or something, or they win the tiebreaker over the Dolphins. But for this, I've got the Browns in. They're probably a game or 2 behind the Ravens, a game or 2 or tied with the Dolphins, but they win on some tiebreakers. And then you got the Dolphins at 7. Their early season is just going to be too damn good. And then I think later on in the year, they actually have a lot of home games or indoor games, so it'll help them out a lot. They'll be winning some more in December and whatnot. But my AFC, I would kind of jumble it up a little bit now. I should have revised this before we started, but that's on me. And I'll make sure to do that for next time. On to the NFC. 49ers at 1. They're too damn good. They're going to be really close with the Rams, who, again, same thing as the Bengals to the Ravens, are at 5 only because they're a game or 2 behind the 49ers, and it's really close. I think the Packers and Lions have the same record, but the Packers win the division on tiebreakers. Couldn't tell you what some of those tiebreakers are because I'd also have them splitting their games with each other, going 1-1. So whatever the other records are,
Yeah, Green
or
Bay barely edges out Detroit in your
tiebreakers.
ranking.
Yep. So, and the Lions have about the same record as the Rams, or like one less, and that'll come down to their week 1 match against each other, similar to the Bengals and the Chiefs. I got the Falcons at 3. I think they're actually going to be really good with Kirk Cousins and now Matt Judon. Drake London's going to get some more
That Matt Judon signing is huge, and so
stuff.
is the
They've got AJ
who's the
Terrell. They have Jesse
safety,
Bates. They
Jesse Bates
have
and Justin
Justin
Simmons.
Simmons. They have lots of pieces everywhere, and this team looks really good. It's just a matter of can Kirk go in there off the Achilles and ball out. Eagles at 4. This entire 1 through 4, maybe a 2 or 3 game difference. Some of these teams are right neck and neck in their records, and they're just losing these on tiebreakers. Already brushed on the Rams at 5, Lions at 6, and the bottom of the playoff like area for the NFC, it's in the 500 range. 10-7, 9-8, 8-9, who knows? You got the Bucks there, you got the Bears, you probably got the Cowboys are there. You know, but it's really just going to come down to who can edge it out, and you could see any of those teams there, kind of like the Dolphins. You know, maybe the Bills are in there, maybe the Chargers are in there. Who knows? It could be freaking anyone. The AFC is a lot more deep than the NFC, but the teams that are missing out are losing out because of one game or tiebreakers. It's not because they were bad.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be really, I think the NFC race is going to be really tight the entire way through.
It's going to be tight. The AFC race is just going to look better because the teams are winning more games, because the AFC is just better. You can't deny it. The depth in the AFC is insane. The NFC is very top heavy, but it's getting a little deeper now that you have the Rams, the Packers up. The Falcons are coming up with the Bucks winning the division last year. It's a little
Chicago's
deeper.
Gonna be good. Like
Chicago, the Cowboys.
I think the Cardinals are a sneaky team.
I can't count the Vikings out. I think the Vikings are going to be a 7-win team.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be like horrible by any
They're not
means,
going to be bad, but they're not. They're not going to compete for the division or playoff spot. I don't think, but who knows? We'll see. And then in my bracket, you got the Niners on the bye, the Bengals on the bye. You get all these matchups. The Chiefs over the Dolphins, again, same thing as last year. You're in January, you're in Arrowhead. Good luck. Texans, Browns, literally another same game as last year. Texans are going to beat the Browns. That's in Houston this time. Were they in Cleveland last year? No, they were in Houston last year.
They were in Houston last year because Houston won the division.
Yeah. Similar outcome, the Texans are just miles better. I think they cakewalk the Browns. Ravens and the Jets. I think the Ravens had more of a falling off, and if Aaron Rodgers can play 4,000 yards, 28 passing touchdowns, 6 picks, and 67% completion, 65% completion. That's a great team. I think that would beat the Ravens all day, any day. Over on the NFC side, you got the Packers, Bucks. I think the Bucks are that team that's squeaking in there, and I don't think they're really going to do too much in the playoffs, but they're there because it's 7 teams. Falcons and the Lions, both 2 great teams, but I think the Lions are more well-rounded than the Falcons. And then you got the Eagles and the Rams. I don't trust the Eagles to beat the Rams. I trust them to beat the Falcons and the Bucks, but none of those other teams.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles match up well for the Rams. I think
corners.
It's the young corners. I don't think the young corners are going to be ready to handle Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
I don't think. Well, they still have Darius Slay, but
yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying that young secondary. Obviously, Slay is
it's going to come down to what happens during that regular season, and because of Sirianni and the question mark there and whatnot. Moving into the divisional round, we got the Chiefs versus the Texans. I think the Texans edge them out. I think the Texans team is better. You can't count out Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of me is already sick of seeing the Chiefs go to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, winning 3 of the last 5, going for the three-peat. I can't deny that they're not good. They're great. But I think some of these other teams, a little more well-rounded on the defense, a lot better on paper on the offensive side. Moving down, you got the Bengals over the Jets. Similar situations. If Rodgers is upright and healthy and playing decent, and is Burrow upright and healthy and playing decent, I trust Burrow to win this matchup against Rodgers.
I totally agree.
versus the last time when they lost because the kickers sucked.
Oh my God, that was a crazy
That was
game.
such a funny game.
Yeah, that was...
Going on to the other side, Packers versus the Rams. It's a great matchup. Both teams look good. I think the Packers overall are better than the Rams on paper, obviously. All of this is on paper. We haven't seen anybody play all their starters yet. Lions over the 49ers. I think the Lions get it done this time. I think the 49ers are one and done. And that kicks off part of their rebuild and their offseason against the Lions in San Francisco. And then we going to get some crazy games in the championship round. Texans versus the Bengals in Houston. No, in Cincinnati. It's outside. The Texans roster on paper looks better. Now that I realize it's in Cincinnati, I didn't even think about that before. It's anyone's game.
It is anyone's game. I agree. If they match
late,
up, I think
in late January, that's anyone's game.
You know, if this was my bracket, I think I would take the Bengals here because I just trust Joe to.
Honestly,
Joe is clutch. Joe is clutch.
Like I said, I should have revised this earlier, but saying that out loud, I would take. Right now I trust Burrow over Stroud. Not saying Stroud's bad. I love C.J. Stroud, but
Burrow's just shown it. He's done it before.
Honestly, it could go either way.
Absolutely.
Moving over the other side, Packers, Lions in Lambeau.
Divisional matchup.
If that happens, I'm probably buying tickets.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be so expensive. But I'm probably buying tickets to that. It's going to be cold as hell. I don't care. The Lions are trying to go to their first Super Bowl ever. The Packers are trying to get back to the dance after 14 years. And I think that Packers edge them out. It's late. Everyone's tired. It's been a long season. It's cold as shit in Lambeau. Same thing as the Bengals. Honestly, this should be Packers-Bengals. You're playing in Louisiana. Yeah. Burrow's got the home field advantage there, despite it being in Louisiana and not Cincinnati. They're LSU fans down there. But it's a celebrity party. I've got the Packers winning over the Texans, but honestly, those conference championships could go either way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so on to
my Yap Sesh. All right, AFC. I'll be a little more brief. I got the Texans wrapping up the one. No, it's not even that. I just I don't have this. I feel like you echoed a lot of the same thoughts I did.
That's what I was gonna say. We kind of brush up along the same.
You know, I think the AFC, anyone could be the 1 seed. So I really spun a board, or I spun a wheel, picked one. You know, threw a dart at a board. I think it's gonna be the Texans. You know, young team. They're gonna come out and they're gonna swing at every team. It's the culture. Like, I feel like they're gonna have a really good culture. I think they're just gonna be a really, really explosive team, and it's gonna be hard to get into these gunfights with them because it's gonna be fireworks on offense. At the 2 seed, I have KC. Can't count them out. They're going to win at least 12 games. Like, that's just what Mahomes does. The Jets, I have them at the 3. I think Rodgers healthy. I think it's going to be a great squad. That defense is going to carry them to a few wins when old man Rodgers can't show up or when the offense is sputtering a little. I think they're going to take some time to find their footing, and they're going to lose some games because of that. But the defense will keep them in mid-season and late season when the offense comes alive in that cold weather. Watch out for the Jets. Then you get the Ravens. They did lose a lot of pieces, they did lose pieces, but I don't think it'll be detrimental enough for them to lose the division, right? Followed very closely by the Ravens. I'm assuming it's by tiebreakers or 1 game or week 18. I don't know if they play in week 18, but it'll be
plays who in week 18.
It'll be close. The Ravens will edge out the Bengals barely, but the Bengals at the 5 seed. Miami's going to get in. I just
regardless of who gets that 4 or 5, they're playing each other the next week. It's just a matter of who's at home.
No, I totally agree. And then I got the Dolphins squeaking in. I think they're going to win at least 10 games. There's too many good offensive pieces on that team to not make it. And then the Browns, I wanted to pick a team that I feel like a lot of people don't believe in. I think Deshaun Watson will have a decent year. I hate Deshaun Watson, but I think he'll have a decent year.
That's why I didn't like the Texans prior to CJ Stroud.
We won't see 2020, 2019, 2018 Deshaun Watson, but I think we will see shells of that, flashes of that. We will see a good player out there, and we're going to see a really, really good squad because that roster is nuts.
If they made the playoffs with Joe Flacco and all these other guys like DTR, they can do it with Watson the whole time.
Yeah, I totally agree. He just has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And then for the NFC side, I got some shockers here. Got the Eagles with the 1 seed. And some people may think that's shocking.
Me.
They're in a really easy conference. Or sorry, they're in a really easy division. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be good. I think the Commanders will be sneaky good, but I don't think they're going to take 2 games off the Eagles. Maybe they split.
I
And
think
the
they
Giants
split
are a
because they
dumpster
split
fire.
last year, but that was
Yeah,
mid collapse. But Sam
right,
Howell was slinging it, and that
right,
Washington team
sure,
got better.
right. And then the Giants are a dumpster fire. So I think the Eagles are going to win 13 games and
Yeah,
get the
so
get the
we didn't
conference.
even need to say that. Everyone knows the
Right.
Giants are dumpster fire.
Sure.
Even Eric.
Then you have the Niners again. Same thing with the Chiefs. They're going to be even poor Eric, poor Giants fan.
Poor
Um,
guy. I mean,
the
he had
Niners.
the taste of sweet victory twice in his life. He's fine.
Yeah, he is fine. The Niners, same situation as the Chiefs. They're just gonna get it done. That's a Kyle Shanahan, CMC, Trent Williams. That's the trio. That's what runs that team. It's
Yeah.
a well-oiled machine, and they're gonna get it done.
Yeah. They're
Then I
getting
have
edged out by like a game. It's
yeah,
the same
and
across the board.
you said the Lions or the Packers are gonna
I
win
said
the
the-
division.
Yeah.
I have the opposite, where Green Bay barely loses by tiebreakers or in week. They don't play each other in week 18, or they just
No.
barely lose, and they get the 5 seed. And the Lions get the 3 seed. The Lions are an amazing team. You can't that's I think the best roster in the league with one of the best coaches. The only issue is
Yeah.
Jared Goff. He's not an elevator in my opinion. He has great
Jar-
ball placement, but he
if
doesn't.
you swapped Jared Goff and Brock Purdy, both teams would put
Nothing.
up the same exact numbers.
Right. I think they're not game managers. They're slightly better than that in my opinion, but they're not on the level of like
They're not a Stroud. You're not a Mahomes.
yeah,
you're not
they're
a
not
Burrow. You're not.
they're
Those
not the
guys,
people
but
rolling out and whipping it down the field and making something out of nothing. You know,
They're not the
maybe
faces of the league, but they're pretty damn good.
right. And maybe I would say Purdy's a little bit better than Goff, and that's why I have them above. Just because
And
I've
he's a
seen
little
Purdy do
younger.
some crazy. I've seen Purdy do some crazy
He's
shit.
a lot younger.
Yeah, he is also a lot younger. So he's mobile. He
And he's a
is
lot
pretty
cheaper.
good on the run. He's pretty good on the run, and he's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Then you have the Falcons. That division's a cakewalk. I feel like the Bucks will give them a run, but I think the Falcons will pull away by week 15.
Yeah.
5 seed Green Bay. Like I said, the Lions are going to edge them out. Then the Rams gonna be a really good team, and the only reason the Rams are at 6 is because they're like a
tiebreaker,
game. Yeah, they're a game or two behind.
It'll
be
they
close.
lose to the Packers, and that's the tiebreaker.
I agree.
believe they do play. They play we play the
yep.
NFC West.
I agree. And then the Bears sneak in. I think the Chicago's got a great roster.
Yeah.
Again, that's another team with a great roster with a question mark being Caleb Williams. But I think Caleb is going to go out there and have an amazing rookie year. I think the Bears are finally going to get their 4,000-yard passer. Maybe they get their 30 touchdown passer. They're going to be scary. I think the Bears are going to be contenders next year. But it's going to take a bit. They're going to start slow, and something's going to flip just like that, and they're going to be great.
Yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
And then on to my bracket.
Oh, what a bracket.
The first thing that stands out, San Francisco, Chicago, I have, just like you, San Francisco's one and done. I think Chicago comes in there and just punches them in the mouth. Just absolutely shocks them. They have nothing. They don't know what to do.
It's like Dallas last year. Yeah.
Continuing on with the NFC, I really like the Rams. And honestly, part of me wants them to win that, or part of me thinks they could win that game. And I do think they could win that game. But the Lions are just too good. You know, like I said, that roster is significantly better than the Rams, even if I think Matt Stafford is much better than Jared Goff. Then you get Atlanta, Green Bay. That's a classic playoff matchup. We've seen it several times. In Atlanta, I think Jordan Love is going to go in there and sling it. I think he's just going to play great.
Too, but don't remind me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh. Too soon.
Julio can't haunt us anymore. Julio can't haunt us anymore.
It's been 8 years and it's still too soon.
Julio can't haunt us. And then on the other side, KC, Cleveland. We've seen that matchup already. I think it's going to be a tight contest, but Mahomes is going to do Mahomes.
They don't have Baker Mayfield anymore. The Browns are done. They're cooked.
Yeah, I agree.
love Baker. Oh, I would get a Baker Mayfield. I want a Baker Mayfield black Bucks jersey. Oh,
no, I want the creamsicle jersey for Baker. The creamsicle ones are sick.
I gotta start a jersey collection.
No, I kind of want to start one too.
I have started one, but I need a
more.
Just they were $100 a pop, but
I know it's kind of annoying to collect things that are so expensive.
I mean, you could get them off like the cheap Chinese websites, but I want the nice ones.
Yeah, I get that.
Maybe like once every 6 months I'll get one or something.
Then you get a divisional matchup. These are always so fun in the playoffs. It's going to be a punch in the mouth type of game. And I think the Ravens barely lose it. And by barely lose it, I mean Joe Burrow has the ball with 3 minutes. And it's either you got to kill the clock or you got to go score.
Lamar's going to take a shit again. And
Yeah, and yeah, Lamar's gonna go shit himself, and it's gonna happen. I love Lamar. I think he's top 3, but I just don't think that Ravens team is as good as that Bengals team. Offensively,
Somehow, despite
defensively, it's a different situation. I think
I
the
was gonna
Ravens
say,
defense is
I
better,
was gonna
but
say, despite me fully believing that the Ravens team looks a lot better than the Bengals team, but I trust Joe Burrow more somehow.
I totally
I
agree. And
don't
then another
understand
divisional
it.
matchup, getting 2 divisional matchups here on the AFC side. You get the Dolphins and the Jets. It doesn't matter. Rodgers in cold weather versus Tua in cold weather. You take Rodgers there. And then moving on to the divisional rounds, you get the Bengals and Texans. That's going to be fireworks. I feel like it's going to be a really good game, and CJ Stroud just is not ready for that stage yet, I don't think. And maybe he is. I think it's going to be a tight game. But again, Joey
See,
B, there's something about Joe Burrow and like
see,
being clutch to me.
you have
And
it
that's so
flipped though.
important.
You have this game flipped. I have them meeting in the conference championship in Cincinnati. You have a meeting in the divisional round in Houston.
Yep. Yep.
I think that one's more of a coin flip than the conference championship in Cincinnati. That one
Yeah.
I'd lean more towards the Bengals. But
Mhm.
this one, I could see it going either way, especially if they figure stuff out really early.
Right. And then moving on, KC, Jets. Just like you said, I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs. I think they're great. Obviously, I think they're the best team in the league, but I think Rodgers got one good run left in him. And they knock off KC. On the other side, the Bears run into a buzzsaw with Philadelphia. They're just not ready yet. They're not old enough. They're not experienced enough to make make a Super Bowl run. So Philadelphia has been there. They're gonna win that game.
The sloppy
Get another
seconds
divisional
of
matchup.
DeAndre Swift is going to haunt the Bears.
This one in Detroit. This is gonna be a great,
So
great
you have this
game.
one flipped too.
Yeah, and I think Green Bay edges them out. It'll go to OT. This game is gonna be insane. The Motown's gonna be electric. They're gonna be cheering for those Lions, but Jordan
I
Love just
would
comes in there
also
and sets them
consider
up.
driving to Detroit and watching
Yeah,
that game.
yeah, me too.
We would
And
get
then
heckled so bad, but
championship weekend. I think we get some great matchups here. First, the Jets and the Bengals.
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers can't
does
get it
what
done.
Rodgers does. He can't get it done in the championship round. This game is a blowout. The
44
the
to
Jets
10.
just no, it'd be like 30-7. It's like 30, it's like 31-7 or 31 to like 3, and then
10,
the Jets
something
score 2
like that.
touchdowns in garbage time. It'll be done by the third quarter.
Or he'll send it
Um
to overtime and they're losing in overtime.
on the other side,
We've seen
I
this before, Meg. We've seen it
right, and
before.
on the other side, I think I really want the Packers to win week 1. You're getting a season opener in the NFC Championship game.
Dude,
I think the Eagles are going to win week 1. Green Bay comes back, gets their revenge. They adapt.
there
They
are
go into Philadelphia and they
so
get it
many
done.
revenge games.
And I don't think they just get it done. I think they blow them out. I think both championship games are blowouts.
44
It's
10.
happened. It's
That
it's
one's
happened
44
so
10.
many times in the past few years. I just don't think the Eagles will be ready to face a different Green Bay team, a seasoned Green Bay team. And then the Super Bowl I really want to see. And obviously this is all there's I think some like this is kind of relatively realistic, but like there's a lot of fanfare going on here. I'm seeing my team
Th-
win the Super Bowl, right? Like
There's
it's
there's a,
gonna be a
there's a
tight
lot of
contest.
there's a lot of bias going on
Right,
here. I
right.
think
But
that's
it's
the right. Well,
right.
what's funny is when I was going through these earlier, I just glanced at James's slide, and he has the Saints making the playoffs, not only making the playoffs, but winning the division
Oh
and
my
winning a playoff game. I'm
that's
like,
insane.
I'm like James. James is a Saints fan for reference. I'm like James. No, the
No.
team is not good. They're gonna be like
Absolutely.
5, 6 wins maybe,
Yeah, that team is awful.
let
I
alone winning the division, let alone winning a playoff game. They're not gonna
I
be
don't know.
Taylor Heineke and the Commanders in 2020, trying to stick it to Tom Brady.
Yeah, they're gonna be bad.
Oh, I wanted Brady to
I
lose
think
that game so bad.
I think this game, as clutch as Joey B is probably going to be in these playoffs, Burrow loses the game 17-21, throwing an interception to Carrington Valentine or Xavier McKinney. It's not going to be Jair. Jair's going to play lights out, but he's going to throw a pick to not Jair. Someone in that secondary is going to come up a hero,
Yeah.
and that's how I think that Super Bowl ends.
If you were to show me this bracket last year, there would be, like before the season last year, there would be probably three big things that I would pick differently.
Yeah.
I would be like, why do you have the Dolphins here, and why are the Bills not here?
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Why is Green Bay here?
I would understand the bias.
Sure.
But, again, we had no expectations. Why are they here? Why are the Falcons there? Where are the Bucks? And my last one would be, why are the Bears here? Where are the Cowboys?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I looked at this, I'd be like, no, I can see that all of this stuff happening.
Mhm.
And not last year, but the year prior, that was my Super Bowl matchup right in the middle, was Packers-Bengals, and we sold. But I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Great Super Bowl. Obviously,
I'm excited, man. I'm
I'm
so
excited.
excited for this season to start, man. We got
Let's
less
try
than
and keep
24
this.
hours till kickoff.
Yep. Let's try and keep this a little brief to round out the end. We got week 1 predictions. I've got mine. Meg's got his. James will have his next week once we get him on here. It's got circles. It's got dots. Different colors represent the different types, locks, upsets, best games. Before I start this, though, we'll talk to James about this too. But what I want to do is I want to keep a running tally of right versus wrong in everyone's records for the whole season, and best record at the end. Again, this is up to you guys. I'm okay with not. But the 2 losers by the winner jersey of their choice. We can run it by James. We can think about it for literally the whole season. We can come up with something else. But it'd be a nice little friendly competition.
I'm not opposed to that.
I'm not opposed to it. So, anyway, to round out the show, we've got our predictions. This will probably be about every week. For me, I got the Chiefs over the Ravens, Bengals over the Patriots. It's a no-brainer. Dolphins over the Jaguars. I trust the Dolphins more than the Jaguars. Texans over the Colts. Same reason.
Florida matchup.
Lots of great games. This is what I was saying at the start, though. Why I'm so excited. There are
about
so many about the entire
week
season.
1.
So many good games.
So many great games.
Colts,
I will
Texans,
say,
Dolphins, Jags, Chiefs, Ravens.
This is the best week 1 that I can remember in so long.
Yes.
You open the season with an AFC Championship rematch.
You have AFC Championship rematch.
And then on Friday you get a young Packers team and a revamped Philadelphia team. Another could have
been a playoff matchup.
Right, could have been a playoff matchup.
Dolphins versus Jaguars. I'm excited for. Colts versus Texans was great both times last year. Chargers versus the Raiders, a new Chargers team versus a reeling Raiders team. Bears versus the Titans. I got the Bears, upgraded Bears team, downgraded Titans team. Despite the Titans both having Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think they're going to be that good. About 5 wins. New Steelers quarterbacks over the Falcons. I don't trust the Falcons just yet, despite me not trusting the Steelers quarterbacks. We'll see. This is one of the games to circle. Bills versus the Cardinals. We got the Bills. Again, Cardinals don't seem too good. Seahawks versus Broncos. I'll get to it in a second, but I have the Seahawks on upset watch here. I think the Broncos actually take that. Bo Nix is going to surprise them. Seahawks aren't ready, new coach and everything. Browns versus Cowboys. That was a great game last year. Cowboys regressed. Browns over the Cowboys. Monday Night Football, Niners, Jets. It's going to be a good game. Aaron Rodgers versus the 49ers. He can never beat them except when he's going down in the clutch time in the regular season. Packers versus Eagles, Friday night. I'm excited. You're coming over. The boys are coming over. We're watching that together.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
It's a coin flip. It's really a coin flip. I couldn't tell you. Saints versus Panthers, divisional matchup. I don't trust the Panthers just yet. Vikings, Giants. 2 on the downside of the NFC, but I trust the Vikings a lot more than I trust the Giants. Bucks versus Commanders. I can see this game going either way just because the Commanders can surprise people. And we get a Lions-Rams rematch of the Rams' last game of last season in the wild card round. It's going to be great. It's a great week. I'm excited. These are my picks. I'll keep track of them in here. I'll check them on Tuesday morning beforehand. We'll put the records in. We'll make our predictions again for the following week. I've got 1 lock this week. Bengals over the Patriots. Couple upsets. Steelers over the Falcons. Broncos over the Seahawks. And then my best games. I couldn't pick one. Chiefs, Ravens. Texans, Colts. Lions, Rams. Packers, Eagles, 49ers, Jets, Browns, Cowboys is going to be sneaky good, and Dolphins, Jaguars. I really should have had a green circle next to that one. I'm excited. I'm going to have trouble picking what game to watch.
Oh, me too, man. Red zone's gonna go nuts.
Oh, dude. At the 12
I
o'clock
think
slate, I've got no idea. Because Lions, Rams is Sunday night, 49ers, Jets is Monday night, Packers, Eagles is Friday night, Chiefs, Ravens is Thursday night. There's still so many games that I can choose from.
and I'm so upset that I have to actually work on Sunday until 4:30.
Oh.
So I'm only gonna catch that the end of the 325 games and Sunday Night
Oh.
Football.
I will let you know if anything's good. I got to see what
No.
times that noon slate is, though, but I've got no plans.
All right, on to
your
my predictions.
Same
Again,
schedule.
I'll make this pretty quick because I feel like me and Chris probably have some similar predictions here. Ravens, I think
Similar,
they're gonna.
but
I think you
different.
picked the Chiefs, right? You picked the Chiefs to win, right?
Yep.
You're right. So I think the Ravens are gonna come in just like last season. The Chiefs are gonna lose week 1. They'll be ready. It'll be a close game, but I don't know. Lamar's done it before in the regular season. They're gonna beat the Chiefs. Bengals, much better team. Dolphins, same thing as you said. I just think the Dolphins are better. I trust that team more than I trust T-Law and Doug Peterson.
Yeah,
the Colts.
We've seen the Jaguars in the playoffs. They won that one comeback game against the Chargers. There's also Brandon Staley, who got fired after letting 63 get let up on him against the Raiders last year.
Yep. Do you wanna put up the locks and upsets?
Actually, yeah, I will.
The Colts. This is my one upset of the week. I think AR is gonna go in there and just take over. I think Anthony Richardson's gonna do really good, and I know this Texans team is really excited. Everyone's excited. Gotta slow the roll for week 1.
Yeah.
Gotta slow the roll for week 1. They're gonna get punched in the mouth. Settle it down, and they'll come back strong.
That seems like a 34-31 upset.
Right.
Something.
It seems
something
like
stupid.
barely.
It's gonna come down to the end, and the Colts
right.
will, or one of them's gonna take it.
Right. Chargers. They just Harbaugh. Like I think that team with Harbaugh is gonna be much better than the Raiders. The Raiders are reeling, like you said.
Hey, don't sleep on Mustache Man Gardner Minshew. He's on
and
hey, team. He's
Minshew
on the
Mania would
bench.
say. The Bears are much better than the Titans roster wise. Falcons are locking it in. The Bills locking it in.
I find that funny because I have the Steelers in an upset win.
Yep.
And you've got him as a lock.
They got a locked, man. I think I just don't see a world. I think it's really shocking that you have these upsets. And then
they're big upsets too. It's not just like the Colts over the Texans, it could go either way, or like Eagles over the, whoever's the favorite there. Jets
I guess you're right. I think
49ers. Because technically Cowboys versus the Browns, the Cowboys are the underdogs, technically. But
no, you're right.
I wouldn't think of that as an upset. Like when I think of upset, it's like, I don't expect the Steelers to win this game at all, but the Steelers.
But I think a lot of people are low on the Colts. I don't think they're very, very high on that team.
Back to my conference predictions, when I was saying there were teams right at the cusp, like you're a game or two out, I forgot to mention the Colts.
Okay.
Colts are there. Jags are like a game or two below them.
Okay, I can see that.
The AFC is so deep.
I feel like a lot of the people I've talked to have been low on the Colts, but I think you know more ball than those people, so
I appreciate it. I love when you tell me that because nobody tells me that.
No, I think you know ball.
My other friends call me special for saying that,
they're all Bears fans.
Yeah, they're Bears fans. They're biased Bears fans who can't be like, the Packers actually looked kind of good last year. Good for them. They're like, no, the Packers fucking suck. Jordan Love is terrible. I'm like, did you watch any of the games last year? And they're like, no, I didn't. I'm not a Packers fan. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
You're so dumb. Moving on, Seahawks, I think they're going to win that game. Gino, they tried to write him off. He didn't call back. That's one of the coldest lines ever.
I'm calling him.
That shit is hard.
I don't think he's that good.
No, I don't think he's that good either, but I think he will. I just don't think Bo Nix is going to get it done. The Cowboys, I think Dak and CD are going to go nuts. I don't know if CD's on a snap count. I'm hearing he is, and I'm really hoping that's not true because
he missed a lot of practice because he was
holding out.
He was holding out. Jamar, same thing, but the Bengals still have T. Higgins, so
right. Or then I think this one right here. This is my game of the week. Niners Jets.
That one you're turning everything off. You're sitting down and you're locking in.
I'm locking into this one because, man, I think this is going to be a tight contest, super back and forth, fireworks.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so ready.
I think 12 is going to drive them down the field for a field goal win.
Dude, just think tomorrow we're watching the Chiefs and the Ravens in the fourth quarter.
8. Packers. I'm picking them every week. It doesn't matter who they're playing. I'm picking them every week, even if they're bad. And then I think the Saints will win.
If they turn out to be bad, I'm gonna stop picking them. But I'm probably gonna be picking them every week.
Saints, Vikings, Bucks. I don't think any of that needs much explanation. I have the Bucks as a lock. I think they're much better than the Commanders. And then this is my second favorite game of the week: Lions, Rams. God, this is gonna be such a good game, and I think the Rams are gonna
The Rams get their revenge, but the Lions get it again in the playoffs.
Right.
Oh.
I totally think that's what's gonna happen.
Oh, that's a good storyline.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I'm so ready. I'll keep track of these. I'll make sure to keep track of James's. I'll have to throw his back on here. Next to the names, I'll put like little records. So from here on out, we'll have the records. I was thinking about doing something like if you get one of the upsets or the locks right, you get like an extra point, but I don't think that makes sense for the locks because you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. But maybe the upsets, like if you get the upset right, you know, you get the right plus a extra win category.
Yeah.
So like,
if you get upset wrong, maybe you lose a point.
No, I wouldn't be that harsh because it's like, okay, that was. Maybe if you get an upset right, you get 2 for it. If you get a lock wrong, you get -2.
Okay, we can do something like that. We'll figure it out.
So we'll figure it out. But we can talk about that later. But that it could add just some extra fun and you pick and choose your locks and upsets wisely. And if you don't want to pick one, you don't. I would just say you got to have one lock and one upset every week.
Mm-hmm.
Best game doesn't matter. You can have as many. It's just the games that I'm excited to watch.
I'm so excited, man. We are back.
Dude, the NFL is back. That Colts Texans one, I would put a green circle next to that upset.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good game.
I'm so ready. I'm tuning into that one. I'm tuning into all the prime time, and I think that's a noon game actually.
I think I want to leave with my final words being, we are so fucking back, bro. The NFL is so fucking back. I'm so ready.
We got new jerseys, Meg. We're ready. We got Love jerseys, man. Jones jerseys, Dobbs jerseys. We're ready.
I'm going to buy Jair jersey. I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the squad to roll out. I'm ready for them to make their Super Bowl run. It starts on Friday.
I need a
legit tomorrow.
We're expanding the jersey.
It starts on Friday.
That's all from us. Catch you in the next week. Every Thursday before the games start, I'll probably set it to upload.
We'll figure out a schedule.
We'll figure out a recording schedule, but upload schedule, I want to get them up every Thursday before the first game. So we'll see whether that's 7 o'clock and the game starts at 7:20 or it's 4 o'clock and you have time to listen and then get ready. We'll figure it out. But that's all from us. We'll catch you next week.